Good morning, Alex and friends. I'm Grace. Today is Saturday, July 26th, 2025, and you're listening to Alex's News. The weather in Riverside today will be quite pleasant, with a high of 83.5 degrees and a comfortable low of 61.1. A great day to enjoy the outdoors, or simply relax as we bring you the latest news. Coming up, we'll delve into significant legal developments as we explore why Donald Trump's controversial birthright citizenship plan has reached the Supreme Court, examining the potential implications of this high-stakes legal battle. We will also look closely at the Trump administration's decision to withhold crucial school funding, discussing the reasons behind this move and its impact on educational institutions. All this and more coming up on Alex's News. Stay tuned. We're beginning our morning with a significant legal development that could shake up the understanding of American citizenship. Ethan, we're talking about the latest federal court ruling on birthright citizenship, a topic that seems to be in and out of the courts with increasing frequency. Tell us, what's the latest twist in this ongoing legal drama?
Grace, it's a birthright battle that keeps escalating. For the third time since a June Supreme Court decision, a federal judge has blocked the Trump administration's executive order restricting birthright citizenship. This latest ruling, Friday, July 25, 2025, by U.S. District Judge Leo Sorokin in Boston, is a nationwide injunction. According to ABC News and the Seattle Times, Judge Sorokin found it valid despite recent Supreme Court limits on broad orders, calling the executive order unconstitutional for this lawsuit. New Jersey Attorney General Matthew Platkin, leading several states, argues Trump's order violates the 14th Amendment. Platkin was thrilled, as the Seattle Times reported, stating, "American-born babies are American." States also claim the order would cost millions in federal funding for essential services. It's quite a financial burden they're bearing.
That's a significant financial impact. So this is the third block. What about preceding rulings, and has the administration appealed any of these judicial defeats yet?
Right, Grace. Earlier in July, U.S. District Judge Joseph LaPlante in New Hampshire issued a nationwide block. Then, 2 days before Judge Sorokin's ruling, the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals also found President Trump's executive order unconstitutional, affirming a nationwide block, as reported by the Seattle Times. As of today, the administration has not appealed these recent rulings, according to ABC News. White House spokeswoman Abigail Jackson, however, maintains they believe courts are misinterpreting the 14th Amendment and look forward to being vindicated on appeal. They're clearly biding their time, so the order remains blocked nationwide.
So, the administration hasn't appealed yet, but they intend to. Ethan, how does the Supreme Court's June 2025 ruling, Trump versus CASA, factor in, especially since it generally curtailed lower courts' power to issue broad injunctions? Also, at the heart of this legal debate is the 14th Amendment's subject to the jurisdiction thereof clause. Can you break down what that phrase means?
That's crucial, Grace. The Supreme Court's 6-3 decision in Trump versus CASA in June 2025 did generally limit lower courts' authority for universal injunctions. However, it left open avenues for broad relief, like cases by states against the federal government, according to ABC News. So it's not a complete roadblock. This ruling focused on judicial power scope, not the order's constitutionality, as the Star Tribune notes. As for the 14th Amendment, it states, and I quote, "All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens," end quote. The prevailing interpretation, affirmed by United States v. Wong Kim Ark in 1898, guarantees birthright citizenship to nearly everyone born on U.S. soil. The Trump administration argues a narrower interpretation children of non-citizens are not subject to the jurisdiction due to lack of political allegiance. President Trump's January 2025 order explicitly states the 14th Amendment has never been interpreted to extend citizenship universally, according to Gemini 2.5 Pro. It's a constitutional conundrum.
It certainly sounds like it. Ethan, have there been other historical attempts to restrict birthright citizenship, and what's the path forward for this case to reach the Supreme Court?
Yes, Grace, this isn't a new fight. Throughout U.S. history, legislative efforts to restrict birthright citizenship haven't succeeded, according to Gemini 2.5 Pro. These often proposed constitutional amendments or tried to redefine the clause through simple legislation. None ever advanced. It seems some ideas just keep making a comeback. As for the path forward, conflicting nationwide injunctions this month put this issue on an accelerated timeline to the Supreme Court, according to the Seattle Times. A circuit split, where different federal appeals courts issue contradictory rulings, creates strong impetus for review. The White House anticipates the Supreme Court will decide by October 2025, just over 2 months away. So we'll likely see this citizenship case cracking on the highest judicial stage very soon.
Ethan, thank you for breaking down what is truly a complex and evolving story. We appreciate you making it clear for us. That was story 1 of 2 for us this morning. We turn now to a significant development for California schools, which have been navigating a complex financial challenge. For weeks, federal funding has been on ice, causing real headaches for educators and students alike. We have reporter Chloe here with us to break down the latest. Chloe, what's the story here?
Grace, California schools are finally regaining access to approximately $900 million in federal education funds. These funds, withheld by the U.S. Education Department under the Trump administration, are now being dispersed, a much-needed thaw, according to CalMatters and LAist.
$900 million is substantial. What were these funds intended for, and when did this funding freeze actually begin?
These critical funds support after-school programs, teacher professional development, English language learning, and high school equivalency courses. The crisis began on June 30, 2025, just 1 day before the anticipated July 1 release of federal funds for the current academic year.
That sounds incredibly disruptive. What was the administration's rationale for holding back such vital funds?
The U.S. Education Department, under Secretary Linda McMahon, notified states it was reviewing grant programs. They alleged some money was, quote, grossly misused to subsidize a radical left-wing agenda, end quote, and threatened to, quote, claw back, end quote, funds, according to LAist and the San Luis Obispo Tribune. This was part of a broader national freeze impacting about $6.8 billion across all 50 states, as reported by chalkbeat.org and edweek.org.
Oh, quote, claw back, end quote, sounds like a strong warning. What was the immediate impact on California schools when this freeze first took hold?
The impact was severe. This delay caused significant disruption, leading to layoffs in some California counties. Certain adult education programs were forced to shutter or reduce services. Sharon Bonney, CEO of the Coalition on Adult Basic Education, noted programs delivered, quote, a fraction of services, end quote, according to LAist. Los Angeles Unified School District alone risked losing at least $110.2 million, as reported by the Sacramento Bee.
That's a significant blow. How did California respond to this unprecedented funding halt?
California swiftly took legal action. Attorney General Rob Bonta filed a lawsuit against U.S. Education Secretary Linda McMahon. California was joined by 23 other states, arguing the department was legally required to disperse the funds and that the withholding was, quote, unconstitutional, unlawful, and arbitrary, end quote, according to CalMatters and LAist.
And it seems that legal pressure eventually led to the funds being released. What prompted the administration to reverse course?
The Trump administration's reversal came after mounting bipartisan pressure, including a public letter from 10 Senate Republicans urging the White House to release the money, as noted by FoxNews.com and Independent.com. State Superintendent Tony Thurmond and other education associations also advocated for the release.
So the funds are flowing again, which is certainly a relief. But are there any new conditions schools need to be aware of?
There certainly are. The U.S. Education Department warned it could, quote, claw back, end quote, funds for unallowable activities, stipulating schools must use the money, quote, in accordance with the U.S. Constitution and federal non-discrimination laws, end quote. School officials, like Kendra Britt, worry about potential, quote, hoops, end quote, for compliance, citing past use of similar language as a, quote, pretext, end quote, as reported by LAist.
Is there a clear definition of what these, quote, unallowable activities, end quote, are? That seems like a crucial piece of information.
That's the big question. As of today, July 26, 2025, the U.S. Education Department has not released a detailed public list of specific expenditures beyond general references to diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and policies related to transgender students in sports, according to LAist and Voice of San Diego. This lack of specific guidance leaves districts in uncertainty.
This situation also brings up impoundment. Why were the administration's initial actions legally questionable?
This involves the Impoundment Control Act of 1974, or ICA. This act limits the president's power to unilaterally refuse to spend money appropriated by Congress, affirming Congress's, quote, power of the purse, end quote. The president must formally propose a delay or cancellation to Congress, which was not done here. Legal experts and the Government Accountability Office affirm the president lacks inherent authority to unilaterally freeze enacted appropriations, according to jow.gov and brookings.edu.
And this isn't the first time the Trump administration has been accused of violating this act, is it?
Far from it. The GAO has found the Trump administration in violation of the ICA in several other instances in 2025 alone. This includes illegally withholding funds from Head Start programs, freezing funds for the National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program, and withholding funds for libraries, as reported by PBS.org and CBSNews.com. The GAO was reportedly conducting at least 39 investigations into whether the Trump administration had violated the Impoundment Control Act, highlighting a broader pattern, according to House.gov and Politico.com.
It sounds like this legal battle, even with the funds released, is far from over. What's the takeaway here for our schools and students?
While there's significant relief, school officials emphasize the month-long delay already negatively impacted students and programs. The lawsuit by Attorney General Bonta remains ongoing, and the conditions mean schools are still walking a tightrope. It underscores federal funding's significant influence on local school districts and the potential for political disputes to disrupt essential educational services.
Indeed, a challenging lesson. Thank you, Chloe, for shedding light on this crucial development for our California schools. We appreciate your diligent reporting.
My pleasure, Grace.
Here are some other headlines. In Baltimore, newly released transcripts from the cargo ship Dolly are painting a chilling, minute-by-minute picture of the moments before it destroyed the Francis Scott Key Bridge. The National Transportation Safety Board report reveals multiple alarms sounded on the ship the day before it set sail, with a preliminary report noting 2 electrical blackouts. The ship's voyage data recorder captured the crew's frantic final moments on March 26th as they lost all power and steering. 4 minutes before impact, a pilot is heard asking, "Do you have steering?" followed by a crew member confirming the bow thruster was not working. In a last-ditch effort, the pilot called to have the bridge shut down and ordered the port anchor dropped, but the anchor's brake was reportedly inoperable. The collapse killed 6 construction workers. The NTSB is now criticizing the Maryland Transportation Authority, stating the bridge's vulnerability to a vessel collision was nearly 30 times greater than the recommended threshold. The cost to replace the bridge is estimated at up to $1.9 billion as the FBI conducts a parallel criminal probe. Overseas, a tense border dispute is boiling over between Thailand and Cambodia. Deadly clashes involving artillery fire have entered their 3rd day, with at least 33 people killed and more than 168,000 displaced from their homes. Each nation is blaming the other for initiating the violence. Tempers are flaring over a long-disputed border, particularly competing claims to several ancient temples, including the 11th century Preah Vihear Temple. The United Nations Security Council, along with the U.S. and China, is urging an immediate ceasefire and calling on the Association of Southeast Asian Nations to mediate a peaceful solution. Back in the U.S., federal regulators have greenlit the $8 billion merger between Paramount Global and Skydance Media, but the deal is getting terrible reviews from critics. The approval comes amid accusations of political appeasement, following a $16 million settlement Paramount paid to President Donald Trump over a 60 Minutes interview. This has fueled anxiety that the settlement was a pay-for-play move to ensure the merger wasn't blocked. The drama has extended to CBS, where The Late Show with Stephen Colbert was canceled just days after Colbert criticized the settlement. In the wake of the deal, CBS is changing more than just its late-night lineup. News CEO Wendy McMahon and 60 Minutes executive producer Bill Owens both resigned in protest. Skydance has pledged to appoint an ombudsman at CBS News to ensure fairness. In Washington, the nomination of Emil Boy, a former criminal defense attorney for Donald Trump, for a lifetime appointment to a federal appeals court is being put on trial in the Senate. The nomination to the Third Circuit has sparked fierce opposition from Democrats and even some Republicans, who characterize Boy as a partisan figure. Concerns have been magnified by a whistleblower report alleging Boy expressed a willingness to defy federal court orders while at the Justice Department. During a heated committee hearing, Democrats walked out in protest. The full Senate narrowly advanced his nomination 50-48, with Republican Senators Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins joining Democrats in voting no. And finally, a new report is clouding Microsoft's reputation, revealing the tech giant used support staff based in China to service the computer systems of multiple U.S. federal agencies, including the Departments of Justice and Defense. Cybersecurity experts warned this practice could have opened a new window of vulnerability to espionage. Microsoft used so-called digital escorts, U.S. staff meant to supervise the foreign engineers. But reports suggest the escorts often lacked the technical expertise to do so effectively. The Pentagon has ordered a 2-week review of all its cloud contracts, and Microsoft now says it will end the practice for its government customers. That's all we have for now. Today's episode was made by Alexander King with Claude Sonnet 4.0, Gemini Pro 2.5, Gemini Flash 2.5, and Google Cloud Text-to-Speech. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow, Alex.